the time, 'cause I wanna freeze this moment. Make it mine, hold you close. Now my heart's wide open. When I'm with you, suddenly I feel no pain. Do you make it go away? Do you make it? Stop the time, 'cause I wanna freeze this moment. Make it mine, hold you close. Now my heart's wide open. When I'm with you, suddenly I feel no pain. Do you make it go away? Do you make it? Do you make it go away?
Opportunistic, still rubbing panels as they go together. It's folded the wing mirror in on Gerardo's car.
Misano is such a difficult circuit for these guys to get right. There's a lot of start-stop sections around the back. It's a very, very quick section as well.
It's a fantastic start from the 23. They're 4 wide there by the look of it. Good evening, everybody. Good evening indeed, and welcome to Chaz Draycott Media and another round of the NEVO Sim Stickers Formula 3 Championship. My name is Chaz Draycott, and I'm delighted to have alongside me once again the wonderful Edward May for this incredible, incredible championship. And Ed, an incredible championship it may be, but what an incredible circuit we're at tonight. The Red Bull Ring is a really beautiful place.
Yeah, it is wonderful, isn't it? In the wonderful Styrian hills that will be alive with the sound of F3s pounding their way around the Red Bull Ring, or the A1 Ring, or the Österreich Ring, or whatever it has been known across the many years that this circuit has been in service. A wonderful track. For me, it will always be known as the A1 Ring. I'm not keen on it being basically a glorified billboard for an energy drinks company, but you know, that doesn't change what a wonderful track this is, does it, Chaz?
No, definitely not. And I mean, at the end of the day, A1 was the fact that a lot of money was put into it by, I believe, the telephone company A1. And a long, long time ago, of course, they sort of overtook the name as well. But yeah, Red Bull Ring, on its own, it sounds good. But when you consider that Red Bull's a brand, maybe that's not the case. Anyway, we're getting to the sharp end of this championship this evening. After tonight, 4 drop scores, yes, 4, will be introduced, and the drivers will get their final scores ahead of the last 2 rounds, which are essentially like the sort of finals of the championship. So this is like the sort of playoff points where you score as highly as you can, and then some of it at the end, if you've not had a good race, will get taken away. We're going to look at the championship standings right now, though, and as you see, it's Bart Daleman currently top of the pile on 196 points to Kevin Zemstra's 139. It's looking very, very good for Bart right now, to be honest with you. He has Mattis Martinsen in 3rd position, not too far back, to be honest with you. Carlos Alvarez is in 4th position on 113, but he's tied with Carlos Hernandez Garcia, and their teammate Iker Estefani are only 1 point back. Jerome Lamy is on 110 points as well, so it's ridiculously close between all of those guys. In the consistency class, it's Martin Deckens, 23 points clear of Hans Polmans. Tim Rutten is in 3rd with Taylor Lane in 4th. Taylor's been intermittent in the championship, so it's still a good result for him as he is so far. And Philip Russell rounds out your top 5. In the teams standings, it is very much Alcantech NHR by Nyman Racing that lead that one on 227 points. Flemish Sim Sports by Viraco are 2nd, but only 4 points ahead of World of Sim Racing Team, who are only 2 points ahead of WOSR Club. Team Year 1 are in 5th on 150 points. So, what can we expect tonight then, Ed? We've seen some wonderful performances by a number of these drivers in previous rounds, but we never really know what we're going to get in this first race with the reverse top 10 in the championship.
Yeah, I'm really excited though to see what's going to happen in this championship. Obviously, we're going to have Bart Delman starting from the back at this first race, although this is a track where you can overtake. It's a little bit easier than certain other venues that we've gone to in the past, so keep your eyes open for him moving up through the order. And then as well, Kevin Zemstra, he's going to be really bolstered by the fact that Bart won't be able to qualify for the second race. He's going to be serving a qualifying ban for race 2. And that means that Kevin, judging by his pace in practice, could be right up there at the start of the second race and go on to try and claw back some advantage in this championship.
Yeah, you'd hope that he would be able to at least make some sort of dent in Bart's campaign. That's Silas Kragvrolik, another driver that we've seen is very, very quick. And Philip Russell there just on our screens as the session comes to an end. Philip throws the car around. Probably going to throw it in the barrier because it's the end of the session. But we will wait and see exactly how that turns out. So no car in the barrier at the end of the session, which is nice to see. And before you know it, we get our first grid of the night. It's a Spanish 1, 2, 3, 4 here for WOSR. Ivan Maynard starts on pole position. He's ahead of Iker Estefania on the front row. Carlos Garcia and Carles Alvarez make up row 2. Kevin Zemstra and Bart Delman make up row 3. They're that far forward on the grid. Ben Hoffman is 7th ahead of Silas Kragvrolik, with Khan Newen and Adam Osiawala making it an XZ Racing orange front row in consistency. Paul Godden is 11th ahead of Wayne Palmer in 12th. And then we have Philip Russell 13th alongside Taylor Lane. Hans Polmans and Martin Deckens make up a Flemish row 8 ahead of Jakub Szymanski, who is back of the grid in 17th position. So it's a beautiful place to be, Ed. Plenty of slipstreaming tonight. Slipstream's going to be important for the second race where the strategies may come in, but who do you think is going to have it here?
I reckon it could be easy for one of the World of Sim Racing Club drivers if they work together into Niki Lauda curve the first corner. We're going to go green here, Chaz. Let's get out of the way.
First race of the night then in the NEVO SimStickers Formula 3 Championship gets underway at the Red Bull Ring. It's a very tidy start by everybody. Not really much shuffling around. There's not much point, to be honest, when you're going up a hill. All it'll do is slow you down and wash off what vital speed you can carry through. There's, whoa, big off, big That's
Newen,
off.
I think.
Yeah, Khan Newen off.
Palmer
in the barrier. There's another car in that as well. Paul Godden is also off the circuit. He was on the left-hand side. That was a massive moment for Khan Newen. Spat the car left, didn't he? It was almost like he hit the curb. Bart Delman's down the inside there. Or was that Zemstra getting hit wide? Zemstra's been run into by one of the WOSR cars. Comes back
Garcia.
on. Garcia, was it, down the inside?
I think it might have been, yeah, just a little bit too wide on the exit. Wasn't really aware of the Alcantech car on his left-hand side. We see him, Bart Delman. Look at that, the amount he's gaining. I mean, I said it was easy to overtake, or easier, but he's making it look like child's play. This is wonderful stuff from Bart Delman. Exactly what he needs in this championship, but he's driving well away from his nearest rival, Kevin Zemstra, who's in a bit of strife at the moment. Several cars in front that he needs to get through sooner rather than later. But on cold tyres, it's going to be very tricky to get those moves done cleanly.
It is, and like I say, Slipstream is going to be so important around here, so he needs to try and make sure that he gets a good run on these guys. Oh, well, that'll do. Carlos Garcia flings his car out of the way, still remains on the circuit and pointing the right way.
Front end damage, actually, left-hand side of the wing, Chaz.
Ah, right. Not good for Carlos Garcia. We'll have a quick look back at the start, though, and just see what on earth happened to Khan Newen here, because he started at the very front of this consistency class. Let's pick it apart, Ed.
Yeah, so here we go, on board with Kanye up the hill and towards the first corner. We're going to see exactly what went wrong for the Vietnamese driver. Leaves plenty of space around the outside. Is it just the curb that unsettles him? Yeah, he's just cold tyres and the curb unsettles the sort of the flow of the car, and both front wheels completely gone.
I think
Trying to drive it back, but there's no chance that that's going to make it back into the pits.
I think Paul Godden did exactly the same, didn't he? Just didn't suffer from it quite as
What
badly.
happened to Palmer? Because Palmer, I think, had a incident on himself. He went to the right-hand side of the circuit.
Yeah, I think he spun on the inside curb potentially here. I know he's just lit it up. Lit it up a little bit too much. We'll go on have a look with Garcia here. So, well, I don't really know which one he is. He's in there somewhere. I think he's the car
that's currently third.
Yeah, the front of this little gaggle. He turns in. Ah, no.
Well, that's not.
Oh, no, it was Garcia. Yeah, Garcia's the 51 car. He was fourth at that point. So, yeah, he just ran a little bit deep with Zemstra in there. Unfortunately, Adam Ossioala has been off the circuit and he's come back on. This was just at the start of lap 2. Oh, don't tell me he's going to do what Khan's done. Oh, he is. Clips that curb. Is he out the barrier? Yes. He does not go in the wall, which is good news. Just takes a bit of time to get back going. Right then. Iker Estefania leads the race. Bart Daleman second. Carlos Alvarez third. And then it's Vrolik and Zemstra. Still, Craig Vrolik's gained 4 places, which is the same as Bart Daleman so far in this race. So good progress early stages, but to be honest, with Bart in front of them, that is not what they wanted, is it, mate?
No, absolutely not. But with Silas ahead of Zemstra, you would imagine that those positions will be swapped around before too long, trying to help out him and Zemstra in his championship fight. Bart Daleman, he's closing up to Iker Estefania, and Iker, you know that he's going to want to hold on to the race lead. So maybe it's going to be smarter for Bart to hold on to second place and bank some good points. But we know what drivers are like. They want to win as many races as possible, and they'll do everything in their power to try and secure top spot. Good start, though, this for Martin Deckens. Again, the Simracersworld driver having a brilliant getaway in the first 3 laps up into the top of the consistency class. Having a look through as well, it was actually a decent start from Jakob from the back. I mean, he's only really been able to make up places on account of drivers ahead of him making mistakes, but he's still in the realms of keeping in the train, isn't he, from Hans Polman? So still could be a chance for Jakob to maybe snatch a podium here, because we've seen how stiff these cars are over the curbs. It's easy for them just to snap on you.
Yeah, it really is. Paul Godden has unfortunately called it a day already in this race. He's had a bit of an off down the hill here. I think it's going to spit back the other way, and yeah, that's the end of that for Paul Godden, unfortunately. I thought he might have just pulled over because it didn't say that he was off track for very long, but he went one way and then the other, and that broke the left rear suspension. Fantastic train here, though. Loads going on with these guys. This is Ivan Maynard. Started on pole position, down into 6th place now. And he's got Ben Hoffman in the Year 1 machine right behind. You can see the Slipstream is strong enough to keep the cars together, but much like it was actually, quite funnily enough, in the Formula Regional European Championship by Alpine in September last year when I was at the Red Bull Ring with Clio's, you'd expect it to be amazing racing, but the whole field was just a train in both races. There was enough Slipstream to keep them together, but not to make them overtake one another.
Yeah, very interesting. I mean, we're seeing an overtake there. That's Jakob getting one more position up into 4th there on Hans Polman. So I want to know if there was a mistake perhaps from Hans there, because we know how quick he is. We can see the gap that he has to Jakob. Just downhill to the right. I mean, how many times have we seen? We just saw it, didn't we? An incident earlier on for Paul Godden through that corner, and unfortunately, that's where Hans Polman's a struggle. But we come back to live shots of the two of them side by side. Jakob trying to hang it around the outside. He's going to be a little bit squirrely on the exit, and that's going to allow a bit more of a run from the Belgian in towards the first corner now up the hill. Are they going to leave each other enough room? Are we going to see contact? It's a corner that gets very narrow, surprisingly, on you. They do just about afford each other enough space. They're still side by side. Chaz, up the hill, they continue to rise up towards the kink of turn 2, the left-hander, before having to get heavy on the brakes. Turn 3, Hans Polman's with the inside line. You should imagine that this will be his corner, his move done and dusted, and yet Jakob just can't quite hang it around the outside.
Lovely racing there, really nice and close up the hill. It was almost Senna and Mansell-esque at Barcelona back in the day, running down the straight completely wheel to wheel. You love to see it, but unfortunately just not able to do it, like you say. Jakub Szymanski still fighting hard though. So back with Ivan Maynard, he's now actually ahead of Kevin Zemstra. He's gained this position on this lap. I'm not sure if Kevin's had some sort of problem, as Iker Estefania has been off the road and lost a bunch of time as well to Bart Daleman, who is now going to take the race lead. I think maybe even a slowdown for Iker. And well, car 1 is suddenly P1. Let's quickly look at how Zemstra lost the place. Just simple slipstream down into turn 2. However, oh wow, Maynard really late on the brakes, carries great speed around the outside. Iker Estefania has now dropped down into 3rd position. Let's see how he did this. Is he just going to clip the curb and then run wide? We've seen it before. Oh, that's a scary moment indeed, and that's going to be a slowdown penalty. And then Alvarez went through as well, past his teammate. So there's Daleman going past, and then this, I think Alvarez maybe went past after they came out of the final couple of corners. Yeah, he's going to get slipstream there and get through. So, Daleman leads. Alvarez, Estefania and Maynard, 2nd, 3rd and 4th. And then we have Zemstra and Carlos Garcia behind. Martin Deckards has got ahead of Hoffman and Silas Craig-Vrolic here. Silas has dropped a bunch of places, actually, because he was ahead of all these guys, wasn't he? Oh, my word. It's another reason to go to a replay. As whoa, man. Oh, that's going to go down like a cup of cold stick, that. Iker Estefania clearly letting Garcia through. Came right back over in front of Silas. That was not on.
Yeah, that was a little bit reckless, I think, is the nicest way to put it. But thankfully there wasn't any major contact and both cars got through relatively unscathed. But yeah, the stewards will definitely take a dim view of that for certain. Iker Estefania now under pressure from his teammate Ivan Maynard, who's actually going to look up the inside. No team orders here, perhaps. They're going to properly race out wheel to wheel. Iker Estefania just can't quite turn in time. And now look at this, Kevin Zemstra. He can smell blood in the water. He can sense the opportunity. He's actually going to get a slipstream off of the World of Sim Racing. Now he realises, oh wait, I don't want to help him out. I need to help out my teammate. In towards turn 3 they go. Kevin Zemstra with the inside line. You would imagine this could be an easier move for the Alcantech NHR driver. He leaves space on the exit for Estefania, but I think for now Kevin Zemstra should be able to hang on though. Again, we're going to see a little bit of slipstream coming Estefania's way as Ivan Maynard stays over to the left-hand side of the circuit, right-hand side of our shot. Again, they go side by side into the braking zone, and through there you just can't hang it around the outside. Kevin Zemstra using the camber over the corner to carry plenty of momentum and come out ahead into 4th place. A little look down the inside though. I thought for a moment we we're going to see Estefania or maybe Garcia look for a move, but no, thinking better of it. Now we've got Silas Craig-Vrolic and Ben Hoffman battling it out. Hoffman on the inside, Craig-Vrolic hanging around the outside, then to the inside and able to hold on to P8. But it's all action here, Chaz. There's plenty of, moments and incidents going on in this race. It's been a very frantic 7 laps, and well, I wonder what Kevin Zemstra can do. Maybe snatch a podium here, because he's got one more car to get past. That's Ivan Maynard.
Yeah, he's doing well. Ivan Maynard and Zemstra both doing their fastest laps. Same with Garcia and Craig-Vrolic. So despite the battling, these guys are still doing their ultimate pace of the race so far. Purple sector 1 actually from Silas Craig-Vrolic on that previous lap, but he's going to want to get rid of Ben Hoffman as soon as possible. This is not helping Zemstra move forward though. He's got Iker Estefania really putting pressure on. Moves over to the left. Kevin keeps the car tucked in on the inside. Lovely stuff. That's very close indeed. He didn't really run him out of room though, to be honest. Iker was just tucked up behind far enough that there wouldn't have been an overlap, but Kevin's having to defend here. He's having to stick the car down the inside into each corner and compromise his line through there. Iker can't get anything done yet unless he gets some major cutback, and I think he might have just got it.
On the exit.
Yeah, he had a bit of a wiggle, didn't he, mid-corner? Let's see if Iker can hang this around the outside here. It'd be great if he can. Oh, Kevin turns in a bit late, but it's all fair in love and war.
That was very scary stuff there. I was always certain there was going to be contact, but there was great awareness from Estefania to not turn in too early. All of this battling is really resulting in Kevin Zemstra dropping back from Ivan Maynard and from 3rd place.
Well, that's exactly what Iker Estefania will want right now as well. He's thinking, well, if I can just keep this guy busy, 2 of our boys get on a podium. Bart Daleman still leads the race. It's the fastest lap of the race by Ivan Maynard as well. He's actually got quite a gap to his teammates, so he's able to benefit from the slipstream in front while not catching him up and having to get held up in the corners. So he's going really well. Martin Deckens is going really well as well. He's leading the consistency class right ahead of Silas Craig-Frolick and Ben Hoffman. So quite literally there's an imposter among us right now, and it's Martin Deckens. Silas goes through on the left. Martin won't fight that too much, I don't think. He's just going to do what he can do. And I think if he's going to get past in the slipstream, you know, there's no point in him slowing down. Second in class is Taylor Lane, about a second ahead of Philip Russell, who's on for a podium at the moment. Hans Polmans hasn't been able to quite make the progress forward that we'd expect, but it's all go in the middle of this pack here, though, Ed. This is great fun to watch.
Yeah, it is. There's so much action going on. I mean, if this first race is anything to go by, the second one is going to be a real treat as well. Ben Hoffman, though, just currently on board with him, he's not having the most exciting of races, but you know, you don't necessarily need an exciting race for it to be a good one. Bagging some good points and just staying with Silas Craig-Frolick will help him out. But of course, come the end of the race, I'd imagine the Year 1 driver is going to try and mount a late charge here.
You'd certainly hope so. But Hoffman just trying to cling on to the back of Silas at the moment as they all run wide into the penultimate corner. You can hear him on the brakes there and changing down gears as well. This is Carles Alvarez in second place. He's got Ivan Maynard behind him. But then the real fight is in the background there. You see Kevin Zemstra weaving around, and it's actually the two WOSR team cars that are right together trying to fight with each other. Another fastest lap by Maynard, 124.30. Bart's doing a 124.39 without slipstream. That's ridiculous pace in itself. Hoffman's letting Deckens go. I think Hoffman maybe got a slowdown penalty or something, because that seemed unnecessary to let him go.
Yeah, I'm not sure about that either. I'm going to assume it was a slowdown, because there isn't really any other reason. Or I can't see where he would have picked it up, though, to be honest. Interesting. Like look at this. They're still scrapping up ahead, aren't they? Just like Craig-Frolick finding his way around the outside, then going for a switchback maneuver. Has he got an overlap? No, not quite. He's got a run, though, down in towards this left-hander, but again, around the outside, it's so tricky.
Oh, no!
Get right. No, there's a bit of a switch. Carlos Garcia with oversteer as he turns in, corrects it into the side of Craig-Frolick. And is there damage?
Broken.
Is that car
Yeah.
crabbing? I think it is, yeah.
Yeah, it's dragging. You can hear it dragging on the floor. Oh, that's absolutely gutting. Oh, it's off in the background there. That's Jakub Szymanski having a moment. Taylor Lane has now benefited from this. We're on to the final lap of the race. Whoa, Taylor very, very wide there with Carlos Garcia behind him. Then Philip Russell in the fight as well. That's for the final podium spots in the consistency class. But while all this excitement's going on, Bart Daleman has had kind of a lonely race at the front once he got there, Ed. This is exactly what he would have wanted, though.
This is exactly what the Mamba Simsport driver would have been praying to happen as he was on the grid for this first race. Needs to maximize as many points as he can from this first, because he was starting all the way from the back of his class in the second race with his qualifying ban. This has been a really, really good result if Daleman can just hold on a little bit longer. Only a few more corners to go and we'll see him secure yet another sprint race victory.
Yes, indeed. He actually sent us yet more stats earlier on today, did Bart. Bless him. He's fantastic at doing so. He's only won one sprint race this season, actually, as Bart, which is quite surprising, in all honesty. So this is going to be his second one of the season. He's won 3 feature races, though, so obviously his longer race pace is the more impressive, but still, it's been epic, epic stuff to watch so far. Great racing as well from the guys behind there. Certainly going to be entertaining us throughout the second race, that's for sure. But here we go. Bart Daleman round the final corner to take his second sprint race win of the season, really helping his championship charge right near the end of the race. Carles Alvarez second, Ivan Maynard third. Zemstra is just going to finish fourth ahead of Estefania, and what a drive that is by Martin Deckens. Another win for Martin. That's his 6th sprint race win of the season. And bear in mind, that's the one where you start at the back of your class on the grid. Is very, very impressive. Taylor Lane and Philip Russell round out the consistency class podium. But Bart Daleman, well, it's another day at the office.
Yeah, really, really good drive from last season's champion and the current championship leader, looking to extend his advantage as we come into the final phase of this series. It's exactly what Bart was hoping for. Winning the race at the first time of asking here at the Red Bull Ring. He's got a lot of work to do, though, in the second, starting all the way from the back. But if there's any driver that we know that can do it, Bart Daleman is certainly going to be the driver to watch.
He really will be. We'll keep our eyes on him in that second one. He pulled off an absolute blinder here last season as well. Bart Daleman wins the race, then Carles Alvarez and Ivan Maynard make it a WOSR Club double appearance on the podium. Kevin Zemstra finishes in 4th after a very tough fight all the way through. Iker Estefania, after starting on 2nd place from the grid anyway, he finishes 5th. Martin Deckens actually moves up to 6th from 16th. That's second to last on the grid to take the win in class in that one. That's an amazing drive. Ben Hoffman 7th ahead of Taylor Lane and Philip Russell, who round out your consistency class podium. Carlos Garcia completes the top 10. Hans Polmans is 11th ahead of Wayne Palmer and Jakub Szymanski, who we saw having a bit of an issue there at the end of the race. Adam Ossioala is the last car on the lead lap. Stilas Kragvrolic retired from the race with 1 lap to go. Paul Godden was out with 8 laps to go, and Carl Newen ploughed the car into the barrier after just a couple of metres. So, as mentioned, Ed, strategy is going to be something for the drivers to think about in this second race. There's certainly going to be a lot to watch and keep our eye on in this one. Is there anything that you think we might have not quite thought about yet?
Well, obviously, Bart Daleman start from the back is going to be the big story, won't it, Chaz? But Kevin Zemstra, he's going to have a real opportunity to try and claw back some points in this championship. What he needs to do is really blitz it in qualifying, start at the front and just try and run away before the chasing pack can stay close, because the Slipstream does, I mean, we've seen it already. He was under considerable pressure for a lot of that race just from how strong it was around this track. So he knows what he needs to do. Bart knows what he needs to do. And we know what we need to do, Chaz. We need to go for a quick break, and then we'll be back very shortly for the feature race.
We certainly will, mate. And as Ed has said there, please do bear with us for a few minutes, everybody. And we will be right back with you here on Chaz Draycott Media. We hope you're enjoying the fun so far. We'll be back again with you very, very shortly. See you in a few.
Opportunistic, still rubbing panels as they go together. It's folded the wing mirror in on Gerardo's car. Misano is such a difficult circuit for these guys to get right. There's a lot of start-stop sections around the back. It's a very, very quick section as well.
It's a fantastic start from the 23. They're 4 wide there by the look of it.
I was so sure of our love. I never thought of any reason, a doubt about us. And now I'm right back at the start. Halfway through a bottle, baby, and nothing's enough. I thought that I could keep it low. Take it easy, take it slow. We ended up just like before. So take it easy, take it easy. I thought that I could keep it low. Take it easy, take it slow. We ended up just like before. So take it easy. And you know how to forget all the wrongs and every reason why we've changed. And there's a storm inside my head. It's getting me in trouble, baby, and I can't break away. I thought that I could keep it low. Take it easy, take it slow. We ended up just like before. So take it easy, take it easy. I thought that I could keep it low. Take it easy, take it slow. We ended up just like before. So take it easy.
Hello again, everybody. Chaz, Draycott and Ed May here for the NEVO Sim Stickers Formula 3 Championship. We're back for the second race of the evening. We had a fantastic first race of the night. Bart Daleman taking his second sprint race win of the season. And slipstreaming was all the chatting points, or talking points, I should say, in that first bit. But as expected, Ed, it wasn't quite enough to get them to overtake one another. It was more just about the fact that it kept them together on the road, didn't it?
I mean, we did see some really good battles with Kevin Zemstra, and I think the likes of Carlos Garcia really getting involved with each other and keeping close and actually going for a few moves with the slipstream. So I don't think it's as difficult as we've seen. I think it does allow drivers to race really closely, really nicely as well up towards turn 3, I think is the main action zone. And then, of course, after turn 3, you've got the run down in towards turn 4, where we like to see drivers, you know, trying different lines, maybe around the outside, going for cutbacks and this, that, and the other. There's been plenty of times where we've seen drivers go too wide for a lot of the lap as well. So it seems to be provided some great racing here, and oftentimes we do see in these longer style feature races drivers, I think, trying different things with strategy, maybe pitting earlier, going for undercuts, going for overcuts, and because of just how the circuit works, how easy it is to overtake, it does create a bit more scope to put yourself out of track position at one phase of the race and, you know, bank on making up some moves later on in the race on track.
Yeah, that's it. I mean, there's going to be overcuts, undercuts, but hopefully no cuts and bruises from Championship's perspective, because these guys know now we're getting right down to crunch time and somebody needs to go chasing after this guy. Bart Daleman has been absolutely on fire for these last few race meetings. We were looking at his stats earlier on in the first race, but he's had three feature race wins, 1 pole position, and now 2 sprint race wins. He had a gap of 57 points coming into this, and to put it into context, that's just more than a quarter of all of the points that he's got so far this season. That shows you how many points he is ahead. And Martin Deckens was obviously looking good as well. 23 points ahead of Hans Pullmans. That's going to have extended now as well. So at this final sort of stage, with only 2 race meetings left, Ed, it's looking very strong for these pair right now, isn't it, to be honest?
Yeah, it is. I mean, they have been really, really quick in their consistency class. I'd be very surprised if they're not bumped up into the precision for next season because of just how dominant they have been, to be fair. And I mean, you see their qualifying pace. They're frequently up in the mix, aren't they? It's very rarely we don't see a Flemish SimSport car up inside the top 5. So I'd imagine their pace, they should be able to secure the consistency class championship, either one of them, and then we'll see them probably bumped up into the precision for next season.
Yeah, we probably will, as we wait for just a moment now for the drivers to make their way out in qualifying. We'll see them from this view here as they come out of turn 1. That's Carlos Garcia, the first car out on track. Look at the beautiful scenery here at the Red Bull Ring. It's an absolutely glorious, glorious place to be. Fantastic, fantastic circuit in the real world as well. Some of the facilities are just amazing. You know, everything's so well revamped. But when you've got scenery like that at a track, I mean, it must be a joy to drive, not just in real life, but in the sim as well. I remember a few drivers, last time I commentated here, said that it is still a beautiful place to be.
Really is a wonderful, wonderful circuit, and it has given us some great racing. I can't wait to see, though, what's going to happen in qualifying. Drivers might try and work together here, you know, Chaz. The slipstream is pretty strong. It could be a margin of about half a second, maybe even more, to be honest, if you can time it just right. So you might see what a sim racing team, with the amount of drivers they have at their disposal, to try and maybe get a bit of a train going, work together. You never know. Then, of course, Kevin Zemstra might be able to call on his teammate Craig Frolick to help him out as well in qualifying. Though, for me, I got information that Bart Daleman has a qualifying ban, but it turns out he's on the track. So maybe that information's wrong.
Either that, or he's just going to do one lap and then he's just going to go to sit in the pits, or he's going to keep invalidating his lap times or something. I don't know. But if he is banned, he shouldn't really be out there on the road, as we both know. Hence the reaction. But still, he's out there on the road. Everybody out there on track except Adam Ossioala. We'll show you just how busy the circuit is, or at least I'd like to. And it won't, because I've got it set to position. There you go. That's based on car number. That's just about where everybody is. So there is a big group of them all in a train. I mean, you see them on the road here anyway, but it's a big bunch of them. Quite interestingly, it is almost split by precision and consistency in that long snake. But you see there the 76 car of Iker Estefania, highlighted there with the yellow ring at the bottom. Very much on his own here, and I think that's going to be important early on for him, because that's going to mean that he can just get these banker laps in straight away, isn't he?
Yeah, it's very interesting, I think, to see what's going to happen in this race, because obviously what a sim racing team, they were really good up at the start of the race, but then I think the cold tyres, it really hurt a few of their drivers and saw them drop back a little bit, and that's going to be really crucial in this opening phase of the race, is the cold tyres. When you're, racing hard onto the brakes as well, if you put out of position at one phase of the race, especially at the beginning, and you're taken offline, so many other cars can just blitz up your inside, and you'll find yourself not losing just one position, but maybe 5, maybe even 6, because the field is just so close, so competitive here.
And that's also obviously we're thinking about when it comes to the tyres as well. I mean, you've got the fact that you can overheat the tyres very quickly in iRacing, and if you do that in the earlier part of the race, then you're just going to be chasing down that tyre temperature the whole time. You know, you're going to have that sort of placebo effect of feeling the need to look after the tyres as the entire race goes on, and that is not easy here on this sim. We all know it. We all know how brittle the tyre can be. Ivan Maynard is fastest at the moment, though, ahead of Carlos Garcia. A little bit of a gap between them. Bart Daleman 8 tenths off, Ben Hoffman 9 tenths off, but we know that the fastest laps tend to come right near the end of these sessions, don't they, actually? Had a few times recently we've had pole position stolen right at the death.
Yeah, I mean, I'm just really intrigued as well. There's just so many things that could go on here in this. I mean, looking at some of the first times coming through, obviously we've got Ivan Maynard for the top, but those times are going to get quicker and quicker as the tyres bed in, and it's... I wonder if we're going to see the tyres coming to their own a little bit later than we're used to, because they're not really working the tyres so much through this first sector. It starts to cool off just a little bit. Obviously you work it through here, but then it starts to obviously cool down again when you get to the start-finish line. I wonder if we might see the best laps come in maybe around about lap 4 or 5.
Yeah, that's interesting, actually. I hadn't thought about the fact that, you know, these long straights will actually be quite good for the tyre life, because it's getting a lot of cool air over the top and over the front of the tyre every time they go down one of these long straights. So it is going to make quite the difference to how well they can manage it. Deckens goes fastest overall there with a 1:24.1. That's a fantastic lap by him. Ivan Maynard still in second. Hans Pullmans goes up to second in class, but goes 5th overall for the time being. He's just ahead of Taylor Lane at the moment. There's more times on the board. Iker Estefania and Philip Russell putting times on. Those guys getting their first flying laps in and populating that board. And I mean, speaking of populating, Ed, it's a bit of a shame that the grid numbers have dwindled slightly in the championship, but I think, to be honest with you, we've kept most of the really exciting races that add a lot more of the higher quality racing to the championship as a whole. What do you reckon?
Yeah, I think for me there's one notable absentee. For me that's Jerome Lamy. He's been giving us some really exciting races, but he does seem to appear every other sort of week of racing, doesn't he? So maybe he's got a few scheduling conflicts that mean he can't turn up and race all day every day. I think that's the same for a few drivers, obviously, with the weather getting a little bit nicer and real life kicking back up into gear, both with the Real Motorsport calendar and other opportunities now as well. We do start to see numbers dwindle a little bit in the summer months, but still great to see good contingent here as Kevin Zemstra goes to the top of the timing sheets there with a 1:23.956, and he's just ahead of this man Martin Deckens, who's in P3 and in a little bit of a slipstream train now, aren't they? They're all working together. Bart Daleman really close up behind. That was the fiercely forward driver of Taylor Lane, just getting out of the way now, getting in front of Kevin Zemstra. He's going to hope that he isn't held up, and I think he was just slightly through turn number 3.
Might help him with the slipstream, though. Might give him a little bit of a boost, but he wasn't very far behind him, so it's not going to be that much of a slingshot, to be fair. That's something that the drivers need to consider here, and we saw it, didn't we, from Ivan Maynard, I think it was, in that first race, where if you're right behind the car in front, you can't take much advantage from the slipstream, you know, because you're stuck right behind them. You're not going to get a very big slingshot. But if you're a good second, maybe 1.2 seconds behind when you get into that slipstream, you're going to get a much better overspeed all the way. You know, it's going to be really, really nice to see, because that is the sort of moment where they may actually overtake each other. But it's just one of those circuits, because it's uphill. You know, the car doesn't have the natural momentum, as Maynard goes fastest by 26 thousandths. The car doesn't have the natural momentum in the slipstream. It's not a flat surface, so it doesn't gain as much as you would expect. Brian Lloyd's in the chat, keeping his mouth shut on the fact that he's not out there tonight racing, but it's real life comes first, Brian. We've always said that. You know that. You know the onus of sim racing, and it's just good to have you with us, mate. It is good to have you with us in the chat tonight. We hope you enjoy the show as ever, buddy. But yeah, I think, if I'm honest, Ed, we're going to do a lot of speculation over this session and at the start of the race, but we're not going to know until stuff actually happens. Really, this is it's a hard to call circuit, isn't it? This one.
Yeah, it's going to be tricky to really establish what's going to happen until we see the cars get off the line and run down in towards turn 1. Qualifying, of course, very exciting at the moment with Bart Damon just faster than Maynard and Zemstra. Top 3 all within a tenth of a second, which just shows the level of competition we're seeing in this series. Martin Deckens is doing really well though for himself, isn't he? Up into 4th place.
Yeah,
well ahead of anyone else in the consistency class as well, just by time, half a second faster than Hans Polmers, which is really, really good effort.
Yeah, it's very impressive by Martin Deckens, but it's what we've come to expect, isn't it, this season from Martin? He's been absolutely on fire pretty much everywhere we've been, you know. I think one of the only reasons he wasn't leading the championship all the way through was that I think he just didn't do the first round, or he had like an accident in the first round or something. I think early on in the season he just had a no score basically, and since then he's been absolutely unstoppable in that consistency class. His teammate Hans Polmans has had a good ride of it though as well. He's been right up there throughout the majority of the season, but it was just a case of when, not if, Martin got in front of him, I think. No disrespect to Hansy, of course, and I know he won't take it that way, but it's just the racing, I'm afraid. Martin is clearly the class of the field in that group. Although Taylor Lane, we've seen Taylor take the fight to him a couple of times, haven't we? Taylor's just in front of him there on the road in 9th place in this session so far. And I'm excited to see if Taylor can actually make some sort of comeback on that tonight and match the pace of Martin in the race. He's always said that, you know, he doesn't qualify as well as he races. You know, he's better at making his mark in the point scoring session, as I call it. You know, you don't get points for putting it on pole in this championship, I don't believe. So it's all about how your race performance goes.
Yeah, qualifying obviously helps you in the race by setting you up further up the grid, but doesn't obviously score you points on the board, which is what you need to do well in this series. Bart Daleman, though, rounding out the final corner, improving in the final 2 sectors, extends his advantage by around about half a second to Ivan Maynard. Now it's, well, not half a second, half of a tenth of a second. Now it's 1.2 tenths of a second, the advantage from pole down into second. As we see Bentley drivers start to set a few more times. Carlos Alvarez seems to be on a pretty hot lap time there. Personal best in the first and second sector. We're going to see him come across the line, and I think he's going to move up into P4. Yes, he does. Wonderful lap there from Carlos Alvarez. Just a little bit shy, though, from Bart Daleman, who's really, really quick at this moment in time, isn't he? Up at the top.
It's supposed to be banned, though, isn't it?
I thought he was supposed to be banned.
Let's not forget that. And actually,
maybe we got it wrong, but I'm looking in the chat and in the channels we have, obviously, from the stewards in the investigations. I think you can see it as well. It says he's got a qualifying ban race too.
That's really strange. That's really strange. I mean, even Mattis Martinson, as I thought then, he's actually put it in the chat as well, saying, "But yeah, isn't he meant to be banned?"
I mean, if he takes part in qualifying and he's banned, does that mean that the race result, he's disqualified for the second race because he qualified?
Yeah, I'd imagine it'd be along those lines. I mean, you'd you know, no disrespect, Bart, but like you'd hope it was a punishment that severe, because it's like, well, you shouldn't even be in this session, so why did you go out? Interesting. Very, very interesting. Unless he's going to do that.
On the horizon.
Unless he's going to do that and start for the pits, but I don't think Bart would do that, because it would still affect where people start on the grid, wouldn't it? You know, it'd move everybody back a position, so the advantage of starting on pole would actually not exist, and the car starting at the front would be on the dirty side of the track.
Doesn't matter about pole position now, though. Ivan Maynard, top of the timing sheets, isn't it? Yeah, so not necessarily going to be Bart Daleman starting from pole, but yeah, there's going to be some definite investigations, I think, after the proceedings tonight.
Jakob Szymanski seems to be. Sorry, Jakob Szymanski saying it's from Hockenheim. Bart has apparently said.
From
so he's basically, he gave himself a quali ban, didn't he? So.
But then why is it in that channel? Because surely those things mean that that's carried over from Hockenheim to this round.
Yeah, I'm not sure. I think maybe they've had to do it that way because he did qualify. Oh no, he didn't qualify at Hockenheim either, because he was giving the he was trying to sort of help Kevin out, wasn't he? He was trying to sort of make it more of a level playing field again. Interesting. Very, very interesting. Still, this man, Ivan Maynard, car 33, is currently the fastest. He is on pole position provisionally and doing a great job of it. Bart
You've got the two Alcantech cars actually helping each other out. Zemstra and Crowfrolic improving their times.
Yeah, they both go a little bit quicker, don't they? Just there on that previous lap. And that's important around
behind,
here.
But Daleman as well, actually. That's going to be a really good tow for him.
Yeah, double slipstream. That's certainly going to be very, very helpful indeed. And that's the sort of distance you want as well. That's the thing. You know, they're not tucked right up behind him. They're just far enough away where they will get that wonderful assistance, but they will not sort of catch up to him and have to worry about being held up in any corners or anything. And I mean, at the end
Silas is strong here. Chaz first sector as well.
He's flying, absolutely flying, and well, it wouldn't be surprising to see him go fastest. We know how quick Silas is. We've seen him in the CDM Formula 1 World Championship as he's still pushing very hard indeed. He's third in CDM Formula 1 for McLaren at the moment, and that's after missing a meeting as well. See what this looks like, Ed, because this looks very good. I'd be surprised.
I'm not sure if that was too wide.
Yeah, I'd be surprised if that doesn't count as a 1x though. Let's see.
I'm not seeing a time appear, so yeah, that was probably invalidated at the final corner.
Oh man!
And actually, Zemstra's dropped back quite a lot there, so he's not in the realm of slipstream at the moment. He's got to really want to try and find himself back out on track in that sort of space to help him out. Beckens improves, but only his time, not his position. Stays sixth fastest, but top of the consistency class. As Pullman's down in P8, second in consistency, and Taylor Lane 10th overall, third in consistency. Good qualifying for Taylor Lane there, I think.
Yeah, it's not so bad, is it really? I mean, these guys do often just focus on their own individual classes. At the end of the day, they are the groups that they're with in the championship. They're the ones that are worth focusing on for the bigger picture. Otherwise, I mean, well, if you're worrying too much about overall positions, then you might end up just maybe overdoing it, making yourself sort of battle for things that you don't need to battle for. And I mean, we've seen it before, haven't we, Ed, in multi-class racing, where you see a driver and you think, why are you? Oh, okay, that camera's just taken a turn. You think, why are you fighting for that? You know, like there's no point fighting that battle because it's not for class position, but. You know, you try telling a race driver or a sim racer not to go for a battle.
Ivan Maynard again.
Wow.
Has he got anyone around him on the track? Has he got any slipstream or not? Because I can't see if there's anyone near him. No, he doesn't.
No. It's just pure flat-out pace, this. That's not slipstream-based. That's what's impressive about what Bart was doing as well. It's incredible.
Yeah. Whoa.
Whoa, way up.
Nice. How many times have we seen those curves on the exits of turn 1 and turn 3 upset the drivers, Chaz?
Oh, yeah.
It's so difficult to get right, especially when the cars are, you know, they're so stiffly set up to obviously go through the corners nice and quickly, but then when you're exiting the corners nice and quickly, a little bit of a bump here and there when the car's fully loaded up can really unsettle you.
Yeah, very much so. Well, there you go. I mean, Ben Hoffman has his own little moment there. Just for a second, throws the car around and back to the pits. But it is one of those where as soon as it unsettles the car that slight bit and just affects the balance and how the wheels are sort of turning relative to one another. If it spins up one of those wheels, it's an absolute piggy, this car, like because of how stiff it is. It doesn't sort of bounce back into play. You know, you can't sort of set it up really soft and just hope that you can re-catch it again. It just goes around. It just completely goes around.
It's tricky because those sort of exit curbs, those sausages can really help you on corner exit if you just sort of lean on them a bit. You can sort of use the edge of the tyre when you're going through at high speed, just to sort of lean up against it and use it to sort of stop yourself from going too far wide out. If you take it a little bit too much though, just by, you know, an extra kilometre or so where you run that little bit wider, it can really hurt you. As Garcia, wow, that's a very good time, up into P3.
23.
And that's going to basically mean that two of our sim racing cars right up at the front, they might cause a little bit of strife about Daleman because they might work together, you know, and when they start to work together, it becomes so much harder when you're trying to pass one car and you've got the second one harassing you constantly.
Yeah, Bart's going to have his work cut out if it stays that way into the race. We wait to see now the final couple of laps come through and go on the board. I'm pretty sure that this second session of the night is set up
Alvarez.
in iRacing's heat racing format, as Alvarez goes fourth. Now makes it another WOSR car right up there. This is in iRacing's heat racing format, so they don't get time to finish the session, as far as I remember. So as soon as that hits 20 minutes, that's it. You know, the cars will disappear.
Here, Chaz, but looks like he might be improving here. Fastest in the first and second sector. Sorry to cut across you, but this could be a pole position lap for Bart Delman, as he can just get the final corner nailed down, which he does. Look at that, inch perfect, just getting the runoff area nailed down to perfection. He comes across the line now. What will it be? Pole by 4,000ths of a second.
Fantastic by Bart Daleman. Well, it may not be much of a gap, but it's a gap. Still has Craig Rollick. 18 thousandths, and then Maynard goes back to the top by nearly a tenth. Incredible. Absolutely incredible. With a minute left to go, I bet you Bart Daleman crossed the line and he was like, yeah, suck on that, boys. I've got it done. Not a chance. Ivan Maynard. Unbelievable.
Shot through the heart as well. Daleman, he's not going to go for a second lap. He could have tried if he pushed it, but that's it. He can't find a way through, and astonishingly, right at the end, we saw 3 improvements in quick succession right at the death, and that could see Ivan Maynard on pole position. His nearest rival would be Carlos Alvarez, but he comes across the line and will not improve. And like you said, with a heat racing format, Chaz, they can't finish the laps that they're on when the checkered flag falls. That is it.
And it will be in about 30 seconds time. Adam Ossioala is not 30 seconds from the end of a lap, so, well, that's going to be it. Ivan Maynard takes it by less than a tenth of a second right at the death. That was incredible. I went supersonic for a second there, but it was absolutely wonderful. I mean, Silas did a fantastic job, but then even he would have crossed the line and been like, yes, that's it. You know, get in, job done, we've beaten Bart. And then it's like, nope. Ivan Maynard's just like, nope. Absolutely not.
That was an astonishing bit of qualifying right at the end there. There's always one last little bit of surprise in store in this championship, isn't there, Chaz? There's never, ever a dull moment. What was it that we saw at Hockenheim? A really late improvement. I think was it from Jerome Lamy, if I remember rightly, right at the end, just to really seal the deal in qualifying. And
oh yeah, Jerome was already fastest, and then he went like another 4 tenths quicker.
3 tenths faster or something.
It was something mental. Yeah, he really, as I said at the time, he really destroyed the morale, didn't he, with that lap time, and certainly showed everybody exactly the pace that was on offer. But still, very, very exciting session, and if that is anything to go by, this is going to be a real corker of a race. It suddenly goes quiet here at the Red Bull Ring, and we wait to see the cars make their way to the grid. The session is apparently finishing, though, so they do have time to complete it, it looks like. That's quite an interesting one. I think maybe the heat racing format might have been a mistake in previous sessions or something, but that is that. The cars disappear, and we will be into the session in just a moment. There is the beautiful bull here at Red Bull Ring. Gorgeous, gorgeous statue, amazing monument in the middle of this incredible park. It really does beg a belief. When you go there, I mean, if you ever do get a chance to go there, everybody, do go. Honestly, it is just... Even if you're just there as a spectator, just go to watch something. You know, it doesn't have to be MotoGP or DTM or anything like that. Just go and find a cheap race weekend to just go and enjoy. You know, fly to Vienna. It's a beautiful, and trust me, beautiful drive. 2-hour drive down to Spielberg. You can stay nearby in the hills, and it's like 10-15 minutes from the track. You can get a cheap hotel, and they're really, really good. And yeah, trust me, just go. It's absolutely wonderful, and the Austrian people are brilliant as well. I've always been a fan of the Germans, but the Austrians are just even more happy, positive, funny German people. I know that's probably very racist to say for a number of Germans who might be offended by that, but honestly, they just are absolutely great people. Anyway, we have a grid to look at, and it is Ivan Maynard on pole position. Sensational time at the end ahead of Silas Kragvrolic and Bart Daleman. Then it's Carlos Garcia on row 2 with him. Carlos Alvarez and Kevin Zemstra make up row 3. They are followed by Martin Deckens and Ben Hoffman. Then it's Hans Polmans and Iker Estefania. Taylor Lane and Philip Russell are on row 6. Behind them is Wayne Palmer and Jakub Szymanski ahead of Paul Godden and Carl Newen, with Adam Ossioala at the back of the grid. So, my good friend Ed May, we have a decision to make right now of who could potentially take this one, but I have no idea, really, do you?
Yeah, I'd have no clue. I mean, you'll hope for a great fight up in the front between Maynard, Craig and Daleman because they were so quick in qualifying. Those late improvements really show how hungry they are to get a result here tonight. But I'm going to touch on something you said earlier about just how wonderful this circuit is. It is an absolute stunner. And if I'm sure you'll probably recommend a specific time of the year that people will go, maybe in the early September, about 10th or 11th of September, I think, is when we might be seeing you there with the Cleos, if I'm remembering rightly, Chaz.
Don't upset me, because I'm not going.
Oh, no.
No, I'm not actually there this year, unfortunately. On the 10th and 11th of September, I think I'm washing my hair or something. I'll have to find out. No, I'm going to be sat here in my office. I'm going to be commentating. Quite funnily enough, I know there's a big Belgian community behind this league, but I'm going to be sat commentating on trucks at Belgium. Anyway, that is all academic now because this 30-lap race from the Red Bull Ring in the NEVO SimStickers F3 Series is underway. And it is a very, very tidy start from those near the front. Ivan Maynard slots into first with Silas Kragvrolic behind, and look at that, Carlos Garcia instantly down the inside of Bart Daleman, trying to put the pressure on in these opening stages. Everyone fans out as they exit turn one. Philip Russell going well there. Martin Decken still leads in his class in consistency. Look at that for the lead though. Silas Kragvrolic and Ivan Maynard side by side. Silas late on the brakes, round the outside, swoops through into the race lead. Beautiful move by Silas.
That was really, really, really good from Kragvrolic there. It's a stunning move to get up into the lead of the race, and what he needs to hope now is that Daleman and Maynard will start to battle in behind and give him that breathing room as we see Zemstra just getting overtaken there by Carlos Alvarez. There's a plume of smoke, I think. Oh, for a moment, someone made a bit of a mistake, a bit of a moment perhaps touching onto the gravel, but they all continue on up at the front. Further back, Deckens ahead of Polmans. Hoffman dropping back into 9th place, and then like Cristofania, he needs to make up moves sooner rather than later because being all the way down in 11th place overall is not really where you want to be as a precision class driver.
No, that's it. You don't want to be stuck behind these boys. And he had Taylor Lane having a go at him there as well, actually. We should have a look at that. Taylor chucks it down the inside. Lovely stuff. Ben going backwards in the early stages, but we know just how hungry these consistency class guys are. And, well, Martin Deckens looking racy here and chasing Kevin Zemstra. That's not in the books for Kevin because he's going to want to get away from these guys as soon as possible. He wants to be aiming forward here at the guys ahead of him. As up front, Daleman taking Maynard for second place.
Here we go. They're battling away. I'm not sure if he's going to have it done for second place, though, because Maynard's going to try and fight it all the way around the outside. But Daleman gives the space around the outside, and now the Slipstream will really favour the world of sim racing drivers. Look at this, they're already down onto the inside. Bart Damon covers it off late. They're all going 3 wide now. Down into the right hander, they plunge through. Bart Damon with a slight lockup. He's able to carry the speed through onto the exit. Again, the pressure mounts and mounts from Ivan Maynard in behind. But Bart can hold on for just a little while longer. Kragvrolic now with the advantage of 2 seconds, Chaz. He might start to streak away if these two continue fighting.
Yeah, he needs to be careful here, doesn't he, that they don't absolutely lose touch with Silas Kragvrolic. But Silas is due a win, to be honest with you. He's had some very, very tough times on this channel and over on Simracersworld TV when we were commentating on this championship there as well. You know, Silas is a man that needs a bit of luck on his side, I'd say, every so often. Bless him. But he's a really, really lovely bloke and very, very fast. That's the thing. You know, he's got the pace to back up all of the any claim that he is quick, but he's just never ever got that much good luck on his side. I think he's taken a few wins before in this championship when it was Simracersworld F3, but it must have been quite a while ago if you ask me, because I won't lie, I don't remember it. But still, fantastic fights all the way through the order. We've got these wonderful little duos breaking out, and we often get these in the early stages, don't we, Ed, where certain drivers can maybe just make up a bit of time on one another and just start to catch up and use that slipstream, and then we eventually will settle down in the midpoint of the race, I think, and just get into a bit of a rhythm.
Yeah, we do see that the drivers like to cool down a little bit after the first 5 frantic laps in these races, but you know what these boys are like. They never ever calm it down for too much longer, do they? I mean, if we were to get the intervals up, you'd just see a sea of oranges and reds because of how close they all are at this moment in time. The slipstream does allow them to stay close. There you go. So close together. Holman's right in behind Deccan's teammates, but of course, very rarely do we see team orders from Flemish Motorsports. They do like to race with each other, and it does give us some excellent entertainment when they do.
Yeah, and that's what you want from a team. You know, you want that entertainment. You want them to, you know, tell their drivers that if one is quicker than the other, then have a fight, boys. You know, you're racing. Just get on with it and enjoy yourselves. If you both go off, then it's your own fault. You know, someone's going to get a telling off for it at some point. But yeah, I think Flemish are one of those teams where they always they err on the side of entertainment. I think in regards to whether they want a result or whether they want their drivers to go out and enjoy themselves. Obviously, it depends on the series, because we all know that a number of these teams are very, very professional, and when it does come to trying to get a result for the right series and the right moment, then they will do it to the very best of their abilities. But we have right now Carlos and Carles together. Ben Hoffman and Taylor Lane are having a hell of a scrap, actually. I don't think I've not seen these two side by side yet, Ed.
Yeah, I don't think I have either, but we can see Taylor Lane just at the inside, a little bit cautious, tentative, not really running through, and you can just see why. The car really struggling with a bit of oversteer there. Massive twitch. Thankfully there wasn't contact, but that was a very, very scary moment there for Taylor Lane. I want to see if we can get a replay of that, Chaz, maybe on board as he was passed by Ben Hoffman, because that was so sketchy.
Yeah, we'll see if we can go back far enough. Here we go. So this is Ben Hoffman. On board with Taylor Lane we go now. Whoa, whoa. Oh, it's just the way that the curb drags the car in, isn't it? Just the way that it drags it in that part of the circuit. And trust me, on a number of sims that I've been on, it is a nightmare to get a car around there and get it around there safely. Jakub Szymanski has unfortunately had an off for quite an extended period of time, actually. Let's have a look what's happened to him. I think this was just behind that battle that we saw there. Oh, he's just done a similar thing, just without much assistance from the curb.
Yeah, I mean, it's tricky just in general to drive these Formula 3 cars, let alone when you've got the downhill elevation that can cause that rear end just to step out a little bit. How many times we've seen drivers make mistakes through that downhill right-hander running a little bit too wide as the rear breaks away and they go onto the gravel. So for now, the driver's cooling off a little bit. You can see the gap emerging between Daleman and Maynard, around about 1 second, and then it's 1.6 seconds between Daleman and Craig Vrolic. You'd imagine them all to close up though by the end of the race. In behind, it's close as anything between Kevin Zemstra and Hans Polmans. I think Kevin just getting his nose up ahead. Yeah, here we go into the final couple of corners. So the Alcotec NHR driver, after a bit of a shaky and slow start, finding a little bit of traction, a little bit of ground to make up. Fastest lap of the race by Craig Vrolic, but I mean, there's nothing in it on pace between himself and Delvin there, as you see the times coming through, both 24 zeros.
Yeah, they're both within the same tenth of a second as each other, just showing us how it's done. And the thing is, there's gonna be a lot of degradation on the tyres if they keep that sort of pace up. You know, they're gonna push the tyre maybe a little bit too hard, and sometimes people do really look after the tyres over the course of these races. So I'm excited to see whether there's much of a drop-off in the latter stages for some of these guys. We've seen it before where people have absolutely killed the tyres at the end of a race. I mean, you and I have both seen it in the... Oh no, Paul Godden and Adam Ossioala have both stopped. Jakub Szymanski's been off again as well. But I was going to say, you and I have both seen it before, Ed, in the chat where people have said, oh, I had like 25% of my tyres left at the end. And people are like, how? I had like 1. As Jakub Szymanski has definitely got, well, 0.
0% rear wing as it drops off.
Yeah, oh, that's Ossioala and Godden coming to strife not long after that as well. Paul Godden just losing the front end, correcting it, and then just tapping the rear end of Ossioala's car, and I believe both of them have continued from that point on. And I think Godden actually, yeah, he waited for him, let him go. Yeah,
that's the sporting thing to do from Godden. He knew it was his mistake. He didn't want to gain any lasting advantage, so stayed basically stock still, didn't have any cars behind he was going to be holding up by doing so. And yeah, very, very Good stuff indeed. Developments though up towards the front. Bart Daleman closing in on Craig Vrolic. As we see the two World of Sim Racing team drivers not really battling. I think for a moment we're seeing a little bit of teamwork, a little bit of team orders perhaps, that they're not racing at this particular moment, hoping that perhaps, you know, the racing starts to hot up towards the front, which it does seem to be doing. Craig Vrolic losing some ground to Daleman here, who's, you know, just done the fastest lap and was actually half a second quicker last time by.
Yeah, considering how similar the times were over the last few laps, that is quite the difference all of a sudden to just bust out of nowhere. I think maybe it was more down to the fact that Craig Vrolic had an issue than Bart actually doing a blitz of a lap, because I think Bart was only about a tenth quicker than his previous fastest lap, but Silas was a good 6/10 off his, so that's certainly a problem there for Silas, but we know how consistent he can be. He just needs to bust all of that skill out right now. This is Ben Hoffman fighting with Hans Polmans. Kevin Zemstra is coming into the pits. Now that, to me, seems very early.
Very early indeed, as we see, look at that, the time is now. I mean, Craig Vrolic had an off track, so that 23.7 is not counted as purple, but that 23.8 was from Bart Daleman. A very quick lap indeed. But yeah, just on Kevin Zemstra, that is very early. Maybe we're seeing a little bit of a strategical gamble from the Elkintech NHR Ryan Neumann Racing driver, just opting to come in early. He was behind several consistency class drivers, realised that trying to pass them was going to be tricky because they were in their own fights.
Yeah.
And decided, I'm going to get some clear air, pit early, and just go for it.
Well, that's it. I mean, you know, we saw Bart Daleman do it last season, where there was a big train of cars up front. Bart pitted early, as far as I remember, and then just absolutely blitzed it past everybody, you know, because as much as having the slipstream here can keep you in a fight, a bunch of drivers prefer it when you don't have the slipstream, because then you've got, well, nobody to sort of hold you up in the corners or battle with you and, you know, stick together with you. So some of them will prefer to completely get out of a fight and then just run around on their own, and I think we're going to see a number of drivers doing that now, because I think maybe a few more will see that Silas has come in, Kevin's come in that early, and they'll go, oh heck, we need to action this, boys.
There we go, Kevin now, fastest lap, so he's seen the pace put in by Bart Daleman and responded emphatically. 2/10 of a second quicker on that last lap. And to be fair, he's not going to be wanting to pit early. He's got clear track and he's got good pace, so for the moment, Vrolic is going to be trying all his best, everything he can do to extend an advantage over Bart Daleman. Ivan Maynard, I'm surprised that his pace hasn't quite been on par with Bart. They were so evenly matched in qualifying, but it seems that the consistent ability of Bart Daleman just to keep churning out those quick lap times has been enough. Let's not forget, this man, he was on pole position, so very intriguing how he hasn't been able to find that pace in the race. Maybe he's just worked his tyres a little bit too early in the start and is feeling the effects of it now.
Yeah, it seemed to be quite the quick drop-off, didn't it, for Ivan Maynard from the pace that he had in quali. So I'm hoping that maybe it's down to just looking after the tyres in the early stages. Maybe he'll come alive in the end of the race. I mean, we've seen a number of drivers that have been able to do that before, so it'd be good to see that again. It certainly throws another level of unpredictability into these races. I mean, we never know what's around the corner in any sort of motorsport, but in these sorts of races in particular, where there are the slipstreams and there are the pit stop strategies, you know, we don't get to see the pit stops of these drivers. You know, we don't get animated pit crews for everybody, so we do have to do a bit of guessing and a bit of thinking sometimes, as Bart Daleman goes and does the fastest lap of the race again there, Ed.
Oh, these are just the training times, aren't they? They consistently see the Craig Vrolic does fast lap one lap, then the next time Bart Daleman replies, then Craig Vrolic claps back. So this is just a real, almost boxing match, sort of chess style match, isn't it, between the pair of them? It's amazing. To be fair, if you've ever watched a game of, what is it, chess boxing? Oh, it's brilliant.
What?
So people, they knock the absolute daylights out of each other. Then they have a break to play a bit of chess. Then they go back to, you know, knock in 7 bells and then play chess again.
I need to what? I need to watch this. That sounds fantastic. I'm gonna look that up after the race. Ben Hoffman and Hans Polmans are still close together, but obviously not in a fight for the same class, so it's not really too much in Hans Polman's interests to defend from Ben if he does get a run or make a move. But at the same time, if Ben gets past, then he's gonna find it easy for Hansy to just sort of sweep by him again. So maybe you've just got to concede. As there you go, Craig Vrolic responds. Another fastest lap of the race, 23.5.
These two, honestly, give it a rest, both of you. It's just, this is amazing what a level of competition brings out of these two. Because I would imagine if it wasn't, you know, Daleman right behind Craig Vrolic at this time, we wouldn't be seeing those times. But as soon as there's someone close by, they elevate to a higher level and really start to find that extra little bit they don't think they can find, and then all of a sudden it just starts to unlock that little bit more in them. And Maynard's not too far back as well. He started to close back down. It was 2 seconds the gap, now it's 1.7 as we see Ben Hoffman. Oh dear, too eager on the throttle I think there, and just looping it around turn 3.
So easy to do though, isn't it? So easy to do in these cars. And you know, we've seen how easily upset they can be from corner to corner, as we see here Wayne Palmer with Martin Deckens going past him.
I think as well it's harder on turn 3 than it looks because of the way the track sort of, you're still going uphill on the exit, but then it starts to drop away a bit, and then you're going downhill all the way down towards turn 4, which I think is what can upset the rhythm a little bit on drivers and getting on the throttle. And it's why we've seen so many times them just looping it around a little bit easier there than we've seen at other corners.
To be fair though, why is Martin Deckens there? He hasn't pitted. He's had an off somewhere, hasn't he?
He must have done, yeah.
Oh, I've been to look back and... yeah, he did. It was just as we were looking at Godden and Osceola. This is turn 1. He's going to hit the curb. Whoa! Whoa. He keeps it out the wall, but yeah, that is the moment. So apologies for not noticing that sooner, everybody, but honestly, that flew right under the radar, didn't it, Ed?
Yeah, I mean, I'm interested if that's done anything lasting to the car. Obviously, hitting the curbs at any rate of speed isn't good for you, but yeah, not really what we were hoping to see from Martin Deckens. I think he should be fine because it wasn't that severe, but you never know with these F3s. They are, you know, made of crackers.
Yeah, they're made of bread that's been left out in the rain for a week. You know, they're just really really brittle at points, but
tissue paper almost.
Yeah, tissue paper that's been in the bottom of the loo for 4 days. Like, it's properly fragile, but only at certain points. Like we've seen actually a number of times as Craig Vrolic comes in from the race lead, we've seen at certain points that these cars can actually be strangely strong in different scenarios. It's caught us out on a few occasions, hasn't it, where we thought the car would be a complete write-off and then all of a sudden they've been fine.
Yeah, it's very, very strange. iRacing's Lineage model is, by and large, quite good at, you know, translating contact in towards very realistic damage, but there are some times where it is a little bit strange, as we see a very quick stop there from Craig Vrolic. Very quick indeed. So he's going for a fast first stop, then a longer second stop.
Yeah, he is.
What will Bart Daleman do to respond? Is Bart Daleman going to go for the longer stop and then maybe come out in traffic? That could be, I think, the plan. As well, Maynard, where does he come back out?
L plan.
In fact, he's behind Ben Hoffman.
Yeah, Ben is actually not going to be... Ben's not pitted yet, though, but still, I think...
Though, what's Bart going to do? Because, let's think about this. Bart Daleman, if he can extend this, make it to lap 15, he'll only need 1 stop.
Yeah, that's a good point.
He's not going to do it. He's in the pits now, but that was something to think about for about 5 seconds before immediately Bart Daleman answered our question.
Well, it's nice to speculate. We're good at that as commentators.
We love doing that.
That's what most of our job is. So let's see where Silas Craig Vrolic comes out then. Bart Daleman is in the pits. He's in his box. Let's see how long the stop is. It is 4.83 seconds to Silas Craig Vrolic's 4.9. Here comes Silas. You can see Bart going up the hill there. Has Bart done him?
He's going to be quicker on the exit. But
Oh, no,
Bart's
he's
got
not.
him.
He misshifted it. He lit it up. Silas lit it up, and somehow he's 1 second behind Bart. How's that come about?
I thought we were seeing a really quick stop from Craig Frolic, but it turns out they were both pretty even.
Incredible. So now the gap is about 8/10, but that means that Silas is going to be in the slipstream. We look at this, though, because Iker Estefania has got Taylor Lane and Martin Deckens, who are fighting over second in the consistency class, all over one another. Having a very, very... Oh, hello. Very, very good scrap indeed. This is going to be tight down to the bottom of the hill, though, isn't it? Into Schlossgold.
Martin Deckens is going to look to try and find a way through. 3 wide. Don't go for it, Sunshine. Back out. Save yourself. Which he does. Eventually backs out. He thinks about it. Looks to try and find any opportune move through. But it's just not working out for him there. Wonderful stuff, though. Taylor Lane able to get through all of that hullabaloo into the lead of this 4-car train. All of these drivers have actually pitted as well, Chaz, so we're not going to be expecting any of them to dive in. As look at this now, Iker Estefania up the inside through the second to last corner, and there's contact.
Oh, man.
And he's on his roof. And I don't want to say I was going to predict it, but I did see as soon as it was going to be 2 wide into the second to last corner, we rarely see moves being made there, and I think that was the reason why.
Yeah, that was a big old hit, wasn't it? Big old hit. And... to be fair, it was Estefania that was on the receiving end of a big hit like that back at Hockenheim, wasn't it? You know, he had a massive accident off the tiniest of touches. That's a real shame to see. It's side by side here between Philip Russell and Martin Deckens as he goes down the inside and just makes it work.
But now Philip in the tow, he's going to try and find his way past. Deckens, you would imagine, would go defensive. He doesn't. He affords the space.
Nice work, to be fair. Nice work indeed.
Philip Russell's gone for the gap, but he might not have got the move done just yet because up the inside he's leaving plenty of space for Martin Deckens to find his way back through up into second place. But this is good racing from the pair of them for P2 in consistency class. This is exactly what you want to see.
Yeah, it is good. Very, very good indeed. Fantastic fighting once more, but Bart Daleman, well, he still leads this race, but not by a massive amount. 0.8 of a second back to Silas Kragvrolic, and we're only just over the halfway point, Ed. This is certainly going to be a good fight come the end of this one. We'll have to just see quite what Bart can do if he needs to defend here, because usually we see Bart either on the back foot early on and sort of coming to attack, or just streaking off into the distance. So the fact that now he's probably going to have to fight very hard for this one, this could be a real treat to see if he has to defend from Silas. The gap is now actually 0.9 of a second, so it's gone up ever so slightly through the odd corner here and there.
Have a look as well. Ivan Maynard's lap time is very quick indeed. 0.4 of a second gained on these leading two. So don't count out our pole sitter just yet from this battle, from maybe snatching a race victory. He will be closing up, and if these two battle, he'll be right there to put himself into the frame for the race victory. So watch this space. Daleman, Kragvrolic trading times yet again, trading sectors as well. Fastest sector 2 of the race by Bart Daleman. But Kragvrolic looked very nice through sector 3. Come up across the line. It's a 23.5 from Daleman. No time actually coming through from Kragvrolic for some reason.
Yeah, maybe an incident point.
Usually it shows up the lap, doesn't it?
Yeah, it does.
Point.
Yeah, it still does show the time. It's just that it doesn't show us exactly what it comes out at. It's a bit of a strange one, but that's a heat problem.
Yeah.
Problem. WOSR club and WOSR team flying in formation here. Carlos Garcia ahead of Carles Alvarez. These two sticking together.
Whoa!
Hello. Not much sticking together there. I have to say it.
brown trouser moment there for Alvarez and Garcia. They almost came together. We'll have a look from here. It's just the curb on the exit, so close to the nose of the 18. Carlos Alvarez, you could just hear him having to like tap on the brakes to try and get out of the way as soon as possible.
It was one of those moments where it was just like, you know, as a commentator, admittedly, you have moments every so often when you're watching a race and something happens and you just sort of, you just sit and watch it. You know, you just become a spectator for a second and you don't speak about it. You just sort of go, oh. Like it's almost as if you leave it up to be someone else's job to speak about it. But like, I was just sitting there thinking, oh no, that's a shame. I was like, oh God, I've got to say something about this. It was one of them sudden moments where you remember you're a commentator.
It's because the incident like that, it can happen so suddenly and it catches you off guard, doesn't it? When you see suddenly, oh, they were together, now they're not. What's gone on there? Your brain goes on autopilot for a little bit, but I totally understand. It was a bit of a curse of the commentator as well. You were talking about how they were flying formation, then, you know, one corner later, car in front spins and nearly collects his teammate. I like to think maybe I'm past it. Maybe I'm past my cursing days, and it's now you that has that honour, Chaz.
Well, we'll have to see, mate. That only time will tell with that, to be honest. But still, Bart Daleman, car 1P1 at the moment. The gap now up to 1.7 seconds over Silas Craig-Vrolick after 2 purple sectors on the previous lap. Very, very good stuff from Bart. It's just, he manages to just turn it on, doesn't he, every so often. He just goes up a gear in some of the races where we watch Bart. Paul Godden, by the way, had an issue just before, which we missed. Whoa, he was on the throttle mid all the way around. He does come back on track in the end, though, but he's just struggling to get it in gear for a second then. But, yeah, Bart, in regards to his pace, he just manages to turn it on every so often, doesn't he, when he needs to.
Look at this as well. Going back to the fight we saw between Deckens and Russell, I think we might be seeing a little bit more of a development there as Bart Damon goes fastest yet again. And actually, Philip Russell now under a bit of pressure from Ben Hoffman. We saw a great battle here earlier on between Deckens and Russell. Now he's started to drop back just a touch and allow Hoffman into the picture. CV1 driver, like we said, has not really been having the best starts to this race. Finds himself down in 10th place. 7th in class as Cristofani appears to be out of the running. What can he do though? We had a great battle and I think Philip Russell has just lost touch with Mike Deckens for now. So if I was Philip, I'd just let him through and see if Ben can help you catch back up to the Simracersworld driver ahead.
Yeah, we've seen a lot of this in the midfield this season actually, where drivers will be in a battle and then all of a sudden they'll just maybe go for a move on the car in front and then drop off and suddenly come under attack from the car behind. Ben Hoffman here won't have to worry about this too much, to be honest with you, because Philip's not in the same class as him. He's just got to think about how far ahead Carlos Garcia is, and that's 5.9 seconds. He's down the inside. Philip gives him plenty of room, and let's face it, I think in that battle there, in that situation, it is going to be down to Philip to be the one to concede if either of them are going to, isn't he?
Yeah, now Philip Russell in behind Ben Hoffman will try and use the Year 1 driver to his advantage to close up as Bart Dowman. Those times, good lord, 23.2s, where Craig Vrolick's doing 23.6s, really extending his advantage, and I think it's going to be tricky for Craig Vrolick to make any inroads at this moment in time. Might need to try something on the strategy, perhaps.
Yeah, I think that's the only thing that's really going to shake it up, I think, to be honest with you. I think with how this circuit can be, you know, it can be great for racing sometimes, but I mean, I'm not going to say the race is boring because it's not. There's plenty of intrigue, but sometimes here in this, it can be a bit of a stalemate, can't it, between drivers, and it can just be one little tiny moment that changes it all, but they don't often come up that regularly, do they?
No, they don't, unfortunately. We don't see that regularity of battles up towards the front of the field as I think we'd like to see. But Craig Vrolick starting to answer back. Fastest in Sector 1. Personal best coming through in Sector 2. So I don't think this battle's over and over just yet, you know, Chaz. I think we could see life in it just for a little bit longer. We'll really start to see what the picture is like when these two make their final pit stops. But for now, there's still a glimmer of hope for Craig Vrolick at this point in time, and he needs that hope, especially with the lap times Daleman's doing. Another 23.2. He could be on track to, I think, you know, completely get, what's it called? I forget the name of it now. Win the first and second race. dominating, I guess.
Well, yeah, that's it. To be able to do a 23.3 is amazing. You know, a 23.3 is a very fast lap, but to then see your rival in front doing a 23.2, that must be pretty soul-destroying for Silas Craig-Frolic right now, because, I mean, you'd expect that a lap like that, a 1:23.3, would just be ultimate pace of the race, to be honest with you, because it's just an insane time in itself. But I'm trying to elaborate more and more on this, but the simple fact of it is that it's not enough at this point, and it's a shame because Silas is doing an amazing job.
And I can tell you, as a driver, nothing hurts more than knowing you've done everything and still coming up second best. You put everything into it. You think, right, these are the best lap times I could possibly be doing, and yet you still see your rival vanishing up the road. It is absolutely gutting when you're in that position. All you can do is just keep going and hope for a mistake from the car ahead, even though you know deep down it's not going to happen. And at this point, you might need to start settling for, you know, damage limitation, staying in second place and hoping that better fortune comes your way in the coming rounds. Because that was pretty much me a couple of days ago at Zolder in the SRM GT4s. It was just about damage limitation, because you need to sometimes hold your hands up and just say, yeah, I just wasn't fast enough. And it hurts to do that, but I think that's what Silas has got to realise tonight, is that he just doesn't have the pace compared to Bart Daleman, because the times he's been putting out up at the front of this field has been absolutely astonishing.
Oh, it has. It really has. And, you know, like we've said, as it gets to the sort of latter stage of this championship and really comes down to crunch time, some of these drivers are going to feel a little bit more pressure in certain scenarios, although we've had a purple sector 1 for Silas Craig-Frolic, so we'll keep our eye on exactly what he does on this lap, but the gap's somehow still going further and further up for him, Bart Daleman. Hans Polman's doing a good job in 5th place at the moment, leading the consistency class. His teammate Martin Deckens is 6.4 seconds behind him, which isn't much when you consider the big spin that Martin had, and then the delay in getting back on the road does just show you the incredible pace of the man with the Venom helmet. Iker Estefani are obviously, well, out of the race, basically. He's been in the pits for 10.5 minutes now. Paul Godden has joined him as well, 7 minutes in the pits. So Adam Ossioala is the last car running currently in 13th place. But you know what? Adam is one of the real stalwarts of this championship, Ed, and he always continues to push on and on and on. You know, he's had some torrid races this season. He's had some really tough times, a lot of spins and accidents, and then comes back out on track and has more spins and accidents. But he's constantly developing, and he's constantly trying to get the best out of the car. He's a real picture of determination, is Adam Ossioala.
Oh, yeah. I mean, you can say the same about both of the XZ Racing Orange drivers, because it's the same with Carl Ewan. I think I was watching one of the first seasons he took part in. I remember it because of the pun you made, where it was at Spa, I think, and he just made one mistake. He broke his car. He needed a new one. But he's really come on really strongly. I mean, some of the performances he's been doing in other series as well that I've been racing against him in. Formula One, I mean, he's been really, really good behind the wheel of a little Pro Mazda. It's great to see the drivers come into this championship and really develop. The same as well has to go to Philip Russell and go for the gap. He had an absolutely nightmare start to his season. It just, nothing went his way for the first couple of rounds, but now he's started to find that a little bit more pace and a little bit more consistency, which is really exciting to see from plenty of drivers. You know, the way they develop, the pace they can find, bodes really nicely for the future of this championship. And I mean, me and you, Chaz, we've been involved in a few discussions about the future seasons, and I can tell you, I'm very excited indeed.
Yeah, it's going to be really, really exciting to see different drivers making their way to different cars and different seasons in the same cars and so on. I apologise for bringing the pit stop strategy graphic up there. I told myself it still doesn't work, but still, I tried it again. Silas Craig-Frolic's second pit stop was 3.6 seconds. Very short indeed, but not long left to go in this race now. Bart is literally just going to take a splash and dash here, and I think he's going to absolutely fly at this point, because the longer he can stay out, the less fuel he needs to take compared to Silas. Actually, you know what? Carl Newman, who we were looking at there, I apologise if I went off daydreaming for a second, Ed, but he's actually on for a podium in consistency right now.
Yeah, that's what I was, I mean, his ability to come through has been really, really strong. Well, his consistency has been
He said
a
the
real
thing.
hallmark of his performances. I said the thing. He does have to pit, though, and that will obviously promote Philip Russell up into podium places. So I wouldn't imagine...
Stuff, Philip. Can't third.
Poor Philip.
Sorry, Philip.
We love you really, Philip.
Yeah, we love you, mate. Oh, Bart, stop it. 123.
Give someone else a chance.
Oh, for God's sake. Oh, Bart wins. There you go. Well, we're done. Oh, great. We can go for a chippy
Barney's
now,
going to start waving the checkered flag early. You can't be asked.
Oh, mate. Well, you've got to hand it to him. It's absolutely incredible. It really is incredible by Bart Delman. Carlos Alvarez remains in second place for now. As Ivan Maynard, Hans Pullmans, Carlos Garcia and Martin Deckens all pit. Ivan Maynard just coming back out now. And he is behind Silas, so no challenge for him as of right now. How's Kevin Zemstra getting on? Because let's not forget, he's second in the championship. He's really the main guy that needs to be up there fighting with Bart right now. And unfortunately, he's 31 seconds off at the moment. Then again, he has made his second stop, so he can be forgiven for that. Shut up, Chaz.
Yeah, you can forgive. We can forgive drivers for that, of course. But yeah, Kevin Zemstra at this moment in time, not really having the.
It's not the meeting he needed, is it?
No, not at all. Not at all. It's just not been going his way, unfortunately. I mean, Craig Frolick's been doing nicely up in front. He'll probably be promoted up into P2 when Carlos Alvarez makes his next stop. Ben Hoffman there. Team Year 1 just up ahead. Will be expected to pit, so Kevin doesn't need to make any moves at this point. But it is, it's not what Kevin was needing or hoping for tonight at all.
No, and Taylor Lane in the chat has just highlighted how difficult it's been as well, when you do have cars in a different class racing you and they're able to stay with you in the slipstream. It's not down to all-out pace of a driver for everybody in this field. You have a lot of slipstream affecting it, and that can skew the results slightly. We've seen that in Formula 1 before, haven't we, Ed? When some weird Sauber ended up on the front row of the grid at Phillip Island, and it was completely unexpected,
I don't know what it was. There was some lunatic must have been behind the wheel of that, getting a Sauber up onto onto the front row.
You jammy git.
It was brilliant. It's a shame that I've been absolutely diabolical in qualifying since then, but I was so gutted because I would just get sidetracked a little bit as there aren't any close battles just yet. We're seeing Ken Zemstra, he's not going to make a move at this point in time. Is that after I did that horrible spin through turn 2, I kept on going. My in lap, I was looking at my sector times, and before I came to the last sector, I worked it out. If I'd nailed that last sector, I could have been on pole.
Oh, mate.
But that's what it comes down to. It's not, when I was pushing that second lap, because obviously I don't have the risk. A lot of drivers, they go more conservative on the first time, their only time. Because, if you make a mistake like I did, that's it for your qualifying. Maybe we might introduce one shot for these boys next time out. How about that, Chaz? That'd be a real treat.
One shot qualifying. If you haven't seen it in the Formula 1 World Championship, everybody, do go and watch it. It means that the session is quite long, and, the guys are so patient and so cooperative over the course of the evening, and we really appreciate it. But it is great because everybody gets a bit of airtime. You get to see every single qualifying lap in full as well, so you get to see if anybody does make a mistake or if anybody has a really blinding lap, you get to see the full thing, and it's great to watch. Bart Delman has come back out of the pits, and he has a 4.7 second lead right now, Ed. It's looking very, very tidy indeed, and he was in the pits for 4 tenths longer than Silas Craig Frolick. Overall, it was actually 4 tenths difference in the pit lane, exactly 4 tenths as well, so that shows you the only difference was quite long. The other difference was quite how long they were in the pits for, like the actual box itself. And that shows you how close it is between these guys, even in the pit stops, not just in their one lap pace.
Yeah, they are really, really good at really nailing the pit entry. We've seen one time where that wasn't quite the case at Donington Park, but other than that, they are usually really good at maximising the amount of speed they can take into the pit lane and really minimising the time loss. And in these races where you are making multiple pit stops, so it's very surprising just how much of an advantage being good at pit exit, or rather pit entry, can do to your race. We're seeing it there from Bart Delman. The lap times have been very similar between Greg Frolick and himself, but just the way that Bart Damon is able to get the car down into the pit lane, shave off, half a second or so, it does add up and has allowed him to really have this advantage as we approach the final few laps. But a little bit of a moment for Bart. Not quite plain sailing just yet.
No, that was a little bit of a just a little bit eagerness on the throttle there. Maybe just felt the need to push for a second. The gap is still about 4.7 seconds to Silas Craig Vrolik. Ivan Maynard's having a very lonely race in third. Kevin Zemstra is now fourth. And yeah, Khan Newen unfortunately no longer on for that podium in class, but still, he's going to be 12th overall by the look of it here. I think Adam Osiawala is also out of the race now. He had a problem just earlier on. Let's see what happened here. It's just as he came out of the pits, actually. Oh, Adam. Oh, no. He's just clipped the left rear on the wall and it's broken the suspension. That's what we call doing a Coulthard, basically. If you haven't ever seen it, watch Adelaide 1995, I think it was. David Coulthard round the final corner into what was like a hairpin pit lane entrance, to be fair to him, in the Williams, locks up from the lead of the race, I think it was.
It was, yeah. It was from... Yeah, because I remember, I think it was Murray was going absolutely ballistic.
Oh, yeah. Murray sounded like he was crying because obviously he was such a fan of the British drivers, He was very patriotic, was Murray Walker, and he was a huge fan of any driver that was from the United Kingdom and flying the flag, even up in Scotland. And, yeah, Coulthard bins it into the barrier from the lead in the pit lane, which was unheard of. Alvarez doing a personal best.
Well, unheard of until, 2007. Lewis. Pain.
Oh, to be fair, he could have won the championship at that race, I think, in China. And then because of that mistake, he then lost the championship by 1 point to Kimi Räikkönen. His debut year as well, that just shows you, I know that Lewis hasn't got a huge amount of fans out there these days because, personally, I think it's just because they're fed up with the same guy winning again. It's like the Schumacher effect, everyone went off Schumacher and...
it was like that with Vettel as well, when he was at Red Bull.
Yeah, definitely. And, it's a shame for Lewis because he's an incredible sports person, no matter how you look at it, but... Yeah, that season was... I mean, the first corner he ever did in Formula 1, he went round the outside of two drivers, one of them being Fernando Alonso. It was just unbelievable. So, that season really highlighted how good Lewis is. I don't
think we're ever going to see a rookie season like that, to be honest.
No, never.
It was nuts.
Insane.
And that's nuts, Daleman.
For God's sake,
what are you doing?
Well, this race has really highlighted how good Bart is. I mean, he was insane here in the last season.
Oh, Ivan Maynard.
Oh, go on, lad. Go on. Ivan's like, nah, it's all right, boys. I got this. hold my cerveza. Lovely by Ivan. Lovely. 1:23.108. Just faster than Bart Daleman, who did a 1-1. Was it 1:18 or something like that? Incredible. But still, Bart has been supreme in this race, it has to be said. Started third on the grid. He would have been very surprised by that qualifying session at the end of it, Ed, but what a drive this has been. I mean, no one's been able to touch him since he got the lead.
Yeah, that's been absolutely stunning. I mean, thankfully, Ivan Maynard said, hold my Australia, and pulled out the fastest lap. But, nah, that's been wonderful for Bart Damon. I mean, he can still go through and take out fastest lap here as he comes across the line, but he doesn't need to. He's already done.
Don't say that.
I mean, I've just seen him go purple sector 2, so we'll never know. We'll see him through these final two corners. But winning the first race, winning the second race, a dominant drive from Bart Daleman as he rounds the final corner. What a race.
Incredible stuff as Bart Daleman takes 2 from 2 at the Red Bull Ring. That's how you put your foot down in a championship. Oh, for God's sake, Bart! Oh, man, he's done it. He's actually done it. A 1:22.971. Someone slap him. Oh, man. Craig Vrolik, I can't even say his name right. He's second. Ivan Maynard, a great third place. Hansy's going to take a win in consistency. Go on, son. Love it. I'm not going to be biased, but I love it when Hansy wins. Carlos Garcia just ahead of Martin Deckens, who is finishing second in the class. And Philip Russell in Go for the Gap Racing. Cammy will be happy with this one. Philip Russell around the final corner takes third in class, but my word, what can you say? Bart Daleman, well, he just showed how it's done tonight, didn't he, Ed? That was absolutely supreme driving all evening. Well done, Bart.
What a race from Bart. What a race indeed. That was simply stunning. from start to finish. I mean, he didn't obviously get pole position. He had to stay in behind for quite a while in the wheel tracks of Crowdfrolic. But after the first pit stop, he really just got into the lead and started to dominate from there on out. And as well, his performance in the sprint race.
Nope.
Well,
all right.
That's probably the only damper on what has been a stunning night for Bart Ehrman there.
Not quite sure what the need for that was, but either way, it's a bit of a meme after the race, isn't it? But yeah, it was an incredible drive by Bart. Very, very impressive performance once again. And we look forward to seeing how that translates into the final couple of rounds of the championship, because we both know, Ed, that in these last couple of meetings, this is going to get so tight. But there is your race winner, Bart Ehrman, by nearly 6 seconds. Ivan Maynard still a very impressive third place after starting from pole. Kevin Zemstra in fourth, just not quite able to do enough tonight. Carlos Alvarez finishes fifth. Hans Polmans takes the win in consistency, with Carlos Garcia in 7th position. Martin Deckens is 8th, second in consistency, ahead of Ben Hoffman 9th. Philip Russell rounds out your top 10 and takes 3rd place in his class. Behind him was Wayne Palmer. Khan Newen was just over a minute down on the leader, and then the drivers that did not make the checkered flag: Adam Ossioala, Paul Godden, Taylor Lane, Iker Estefania, and Jakub Szymanski. Well, I mean, I've completely lost my mind over what Bart's done at the end there, because, I mean, we saw 23.5s earlier on in the day, and we thought, wow, that's really quick. Bart's then gone 6/10 faster than that, and he's the only driver all night to get into the 122s. But to do that at the end of a race as well, considering how long the tyres had been on the car, yes, it would have been low on fuel, but, I mean, that is just... that's potent. That's scary for the other drivers, surely.
That's a statement and a half that this championship, you'll have to really have to rip it out of Bart's hands. That was a commanding drive, a champion's drive as we approach the final stages of this season. To have a week off for the drivers to, I think, mull over what they've seen tonight from Bart before we go to Motegi and Bathurst, the final 2 rounds that cannot be dropped.
Yes. Very important, actually, that as well, because they will need to perform in those final rounds, because if they do get a low score or don't quite get as much as they would have wanted, then that is going to be that. You know, there's no second chances at this point now, Ed. That's it. They've had to get any weak rounds, any bad form that's got to have been done by this point. Yeah,
you cannot afford a mistake. I mean, Bart will have the advantage, you'd imagine, into those final 2 rounds, and I think the pressure is going to be more on the drivers behind, because they know they cannot afford a mistake. Bart Ehrman, he knows if he just sticks to it, he doesn't need to race at full pace. As long as he bags consistent, decent points, it should be in his hands. And I mean, you can see the man himself. He's joined the interview waiting room for a moment, and then he's gone again. I'm not sure if we are going to have a word with Bart. I saw him for a second. Now he's gone.
No, he's here. That's why.
He's here.
Hi, Ed.
Hello.
Sneaking in like that.
Sneaking in. Didn't even get to drag you in, but hey. Wow. What an evening. We might as well get started with the interviews now that you've snuck in, Bart. Congratulations, mate. The first driver all season to win the sprint and the feature race, and at a crucial time as well, as we go for a week's break before the final 2 non-droppable rounds of this series. You must be very pleased with that result.
Yeah, very pleased, very pleased. I didn't expect that the overcut was going to work today in the second race, but it seemed it did. But I think it was because of I think Silas was a little bit too slow in his in-lap when he was driving the pit, and I was really on the limit in the corner of the pit lane, so I think that was the difference.
Yeah, we touched actually on it on the broadcast about the advantage you can get if you are really quick on the run into the pits. If you get, very close to speeding in the pit lane, you can shave off a lot of time, and that seemed to be the difference maker for you tonight. But just talk us through what it was like, because you didn't ever seem that you were, having it easy. You were pushing right until the end. I mean, the fastest lap right at the death at 22.9. How? Just how?
Yeah, I think even Lara Maynard also did the full race stint And the tires are just, I don't know what's happening, but how longer the tires are going, the faster you get. I think in practice I did the full third stint and I was driving 22.5s or something. So it's something weird that, that on Red Bull Ring you suddenly go faster and faster. But you have to be very careful in the first stint. And I think Silas was a little bit too hard on the tires in the first stint. Trying to really get away from me, and I just took it easy. So the tires suddenly in the second stint got, yeah, they had like the perfect window to really push and push, and then suddenly it goes faster and faster and faster.
Yeah, and cast your mind back to the first race if you can, but I know it's a little while ago, but that opening sort of lap and a half for you, that was really, really crucial for you getting that result. Just talk us through, because it was a little bit hectic up at the front there.
Yeah, it's thanks to Silas actually, because I was on the right side on the straight just before going in turn 3 or turn 2, depends on how you look at it. But there was a gap, and I think it was Carlos and Kevin on the outside, and I didn't dare to go to the gap, but Silas gave me a little tap, so I had to go in the gap, and then suddenly I had like 3 positions or something, and then from then on it was full pace, and I think it was Iker who made a mistake. So I had an easy pass there, so I got a little bit lucky in the first race.
Well, that's everything from me. I'll hand over to Chaz if he's got any more questions to ask you.
When are you going to slow down, Bart? No, in all seriousness, Bart, that was incredibly impressive tonight. You know, me and Ed have run out of superlatives to use for just how impressive that was, and I mean the fastest lap at the end was really the cherry on a very, very tasty cake, which was your evening at Red Bull Ring. Motegi and Bathurst, though, talk us through them. Are you fans of those two circuits?
I like it with GT3 cars, the multi-G circuits. Bathurst, I think we went there and it went pretty okay. I think it's a nice track for the F3 car with the grip we have. You really go very fast on the mountain. I think, yeah, you only can overtake on the straights, of course, but there are good overtaking opportunities there. So I'm looking forward to Bathurst, and Motegi is a little bit, yeah, for the F3 car, a little bit a strange duck in the whatever. I'm translating a Dutch translation in English. This may be the perfect, but yeah, I don't know. We'll see.
Well, we hope it goes as well as tonight has gone for you, Bart. It's been a really, really impressive season once again from you, mate. So best of luck. Is there anyone you'd like to give a shout out to?
Thanks to you, Chaz, and Ed for the broadcast. Ed also for helping out with the protest this week, and all the stewards. I will thank them all personally in the last race, because they're doing a fantastic job and they try to do their best judgment. Everybody has their opinion, and yeah, that's why we have all the different opinions together, so we have that discussion. And that it's a really fair decision. So I want to thank all the admin team, and I want to thank Simstickers and Paul for whatever he's doing for us.
Lovely stuff, Bart. Well, thank you very much again for joining us. It's been great to speak to you, mate, and another great performance tonight. Well done.
Thank you, guys. Thank you.
Well, amazing. Absolutely amazing. There's not really many other words we can say about Bart Daleman tonight. He was completely untouchable, wasn't he, Ed?
Yeah, a dominant drive, and I think it's safe to say that one hand is firmly on the championship for that man. It's
yeah,
exactly the result he needed coming into the final 2 rounds that can't be dropped to pile that pressure on the chasing pack and provide that real statement of intent.
It certainly will be hard for everybody to catch him, but still, it's been a hell of a race meeting here tonight at the Red Bull Ring. We hope you have enjoyed it, everybody. But we will see you in 2 weeks' time when we go to Motegi. As for now, I've been Chaz Draycott, joined by the wonderful Ed May, and this has been the NEVO Sim Stickers Formula 3 series. Thanks once again, have a good night, and we'll see you in 2 weeks.
Opportunistic, still rubbing panels as they go together. It's folded the wing mirror in on Gerardo's car.
Misano is such a difficult circuit for these guys to get right. There's a lot of start-stop sections around the back. It's a very, very quick section as well.
It's a fantastic start from the 23. They're 4 wide there by the look of it.